Cassian has now arrived at the Martians' Malisinov tea party. Everyone was astonished after seeing Cassian. Everyone looked at Cassian because he is so handsome, and no one could look away from him. Arne feels somewhat jealous, but she does not want to admit it. Cassian thought the tea party was so hard for Arne that she had to take a deep breath. A lady came to welcome Cassian, but he was pleased after looking at her. She was frightened, looking at Cassian. Marchioness Melisinov, I was frightened. She said I had seen you in a long time. Grace asked, have you come to fetch the Grand Duchess? Cassian replied, yes. Cassian put his hand on Arne's shoulder and told everyone, my wife is extremely shy. Please take care of her in the future. Marchioness Melisinov said she wanted to ask for your grace and help, but Cassian completely ignored her and told Arne, let's go home. Everyone compliments Cassian because he is so kind. After that, they go in the carriage, but Cassian thinks that Aruna was crying because her eye was red. He feels annoyed, thinking about what happened to Arne. Cassian thinks that if Aruna does not maintain her position as a Grand Duchess, then it will be difficult for her to stay here. And as long as Aruna is the princess of the Western Empire, Emperor Gzip is not able to move freely. He feels there's always something that attracts his attention to Arun because he cares for her and is focused on her. Cassian asks Arun, how was the tea party? She replied that it was pleasant, the dessert was very tasty, and the other ladies were also kind. She told Cassian that while she was eating the dessert, they didn't say a single word so that she could eat comfortably. The people in the Northern Empire were very kind. Cassian was so confused after listening to this. At night, Arun feels so tired, and she decides she will not go anywhere for some time. The next morning, Arun's maid came to her room and told her that Her Majesty Empress had sent a luncheon invitation. Her Majesty wants to invite your grace to lunch today. Arne asks for lunch this early. She also asks if the Northern Empire makes an appointment this hurriedly. Arun realized that instead of answering with hope, Her Majesty purposely prepared breakfast to make her attend. The maid also tells her that since me and Sir Craven are from the West, we were denied entry to the place due to security reasons. The maid worried about Arun, so she told her to be careful while having lunch. Arun also finds this strange. On the third visit to the Imperial Palace, after looking at the Imperial Palace for the third time, Arun realizes that the Imperial Palace of the Northern Empire is huge. She wore a beautiful gown so she wouldn't get criticism regarding her clothes. Arun told the lady standing at the door that I had come to attend the luncheon today because Her Majesty had invited me. Erica, the maid, thinks she has to work better because she is the representative of Arun. The lady at the door welcomed her and told her the preparation of the luncheon was not done yet, so your grace had to wait. Her Majesty is not ready to welcome guests yet. I apologize, but it looks like your grace, the Grand Duchess, has to wait for a while. Arun felt strange because she had come at the right time, but she still had to wait. She thought Her Majesty was doing this for purposes. She asked the lady how long I had to wait. She replied that you have to wait for a while. Arun told me I would wait here. Erica thought, how could the Empress treat her with the grace of the Grand Duchess like this? While Aruna was waiting for Lucian, she remembered the time when she was on guard duty and had to stand for 12 hours straight. She waited for an hour. The maid told Her Highness that she had been standing for an hour and a half. After listening to this, the Empress was very angry. She thought Arun was trying to oppose her. The Empress made a plan that she would purposely treat Arun coldly and let the Princess of the Western Empire behave impolitely to herself. After that, she was planning to scold her. She remembered that Arun's body is fragile as glass, so she thought she wouldn't last longer. But even after 3 hours, Arun was standing like nothing had happened. After that, the maid told Her Majesty that if you treat her like this, you will get yourself in trouble later. If there is a rumor spreading about the Grand Duchess getting treated disrespectfully without a reason, then it will be trouble. And what if the Grand Duke Ternuzin finds out about this? After listening to this, the Empress said to bring them in. The maid told Arun that Her Majesty is ready. Please enter. Erica was very cheerful, because the Grand Duchess is extremely fragile and weak. But your grace won the confrontation with the Empress. Arun enters the room. She remembers Madame Jean saying she's only 2 years older than the crown princess. That's why she looks like an angry small child. But taking this aside, Arun greeted Her Majesty. She greeted her very politely and adequately. Her Majesty praises her for her efforts because she thought she would not be able to greet her properly. After all, she came from the Northern Empire. Her Majesty also told her that someday, I want to summon you like this and talk to you leisurely. Her Majesty said if I knew that Grand Duchess would come this early, I would have prepared myself earlier. But I was too tired to the point I fell asleep. I believe that you will understand since we are facing the same problem. Arne realized that Her Majesty was trying to create problems without any reason. After this, Her Majesty invited Arne to a luncheon. She says yes, then Her Majesty says that the Grand Duke of Tehujan even came to fetch you. This is your first time. I heard that Cassian did something like that. He didn't do that to his former partner. Oh, don't you know about this? After listening to all these, Aruna says it looks like the nobles of the Northern Empire are very interested in one past love story, but it is impolite to do so in the Western Empire. She asks if this is a cultural difference. After this, Her Majesty seems very angry. A maid told Cassian that Arun was invited by the Empress for lunch. She told him that when your grace went to the Thessaloniki mansion, an invitation written directly from the Empress arrived this morning. Because of that, Her Grace, the Grand Duchess, went to the Imperial Palace, but she has not returned yet. After listening to this, Cassian decided to go there. While at the castle, Arun was enjoying delicious dishes. Her Majesty asked her to review the food, and Arun said yes, it was very delicious. Then Her Majesty invited her to talk in the garden, where the roses bloomed beautifully. They both walked together to the garden, and Her Majesty told her to rest. After a while, Arun feels a strange feeling, and then she suddenly realizes where Erika is. We get to see that Erika is watching Arun from behind. Suddenly, a maid calls her name and tells her to serve the tea to the Grand Duchess, and Her Majesty, Erika, is so tense that when she goes to serve the tea, a maid makes her fall by tripping her leg. She was about to fall, but Arun caught her, and the tea both she tells her to be careful. Every maid was astonished after seeing this, and Her Majesty was also astonished after seeing this. Her Majesty tried to make her kneel down without any reason. She yelled at Arun, telling her she didn't have any manners or etiquette. Erika said it was my mistake. She said it was my mistake, Grace, the Grand Duchess. But Aruna realized the other maid purposely put her feet right in front of Erika. Arun feels strange about how the others made her work. She thinks it was the trap that the Empress prepared. She consoled Erika and said that it was the leader's duty to be responsible to their subordinates. But Erika started to cry and said that because of me, your Grace will be humiliated. Then Arun told her to go to another place. The entrance to the Empress Palace is better than the middle of the garden. Arun said to Erika, let kneel. She thinks it can't be helped since his superiors want her to kneel. Arun thought in her mind that she had to wait until the opponent crossed the line. In front of the Empress Palace, both Arun and Erika kneeled down. But it was nothing for Arun. She held on for 54 hours in this position because she beat up all the seniors that she didn't like. It was just a nostalgic memory for Arun. Nothing else. 2 hours have passed by and she is still smiling. A maid told this to Her Majesty. Her Majesty was astonished after listening to this because she thought she was fragile, but that was not the case. Arun was still laughing. Her Majesty thought, let's end this. Meanwhile, at the castle, Edward got to know about this, so he decided to help her. His assistant tried to stop him, but he didn't stop and went there. A few days ago, the Emperor was scolding the Empress because of what happened to the Crown Prince. He was yelling at her and telling her if she continued to neglect her duties, she better think of what that might sound like. Empress. That's the reason why she tried to find the Grand Duchess, the main culprit who humiliated the Crown Prince. After a while, a maid told the Empress that time had passed and that if your Majesty continued this, your Majesty would surely be in trouble. Then another maid came and told her that the Crown Prince had come. Her Majesty was astonished after listening to this. Now at the entrance, Edward saw Arun like this. He felt like his heart would shatter. He came to Arun and told her, don't cry, my small bird. Arun was dissatisfied after listening to this, and Edward told her I would talk to the Empress and help you be forgiven. Suddenly Cassian came from behind and told his brother there was no need to worry. He seemed very angry, and he told Aruna to hold her hand. But Arun told him that Her Majesty had ordered her to kneel. But Cassian told her there was no need to worry, even if she was going to be angry, because your body is more precious. Now a maid came and told them, you grace the Grand Duchess. Her Majesty the Empress said that you are allowed to return now. And also, the maid told the Crown Prince to stop by Her Majesty for a moment. Then Cassian told Arun, let's go to the mansion. Arun told Erika to stand up, but it was hard to stand up after kneeling down for this long. Cassian worried about Arun, so he lifted her up and told her to be patient for a while. We were going straight to the mansion. And Erika also returned safely. Now, when Cassian asks the doctor about Arun's condition, he says that due to kneeling on the floor, there are cuts on her knee. It's slightly scratched and swollen, but that will make her knee nicely strained, so Her Grace must be careful for the time being. If Her Grace does not rest well, she might feel uncomfortable walking for the rest of her life. The doctor says he is going to give the ointment to the maid. If this is used and she has enough rest for a few days, her grace will heal without any scars. But Cassian wants to smear the ointment himself. Cassian went to Aaron's room, but Aaron was confused and thought the one who had to smear the ointment for me was Eva. But why is Cassian here? Cassian told her to show her knees so he could apply the ointment. Aaron was flabbergasted after this, but she lifted her gown. Now in the flashback, we see Aaron was hurting herself. After seeing Erica's injury, she thought everyone would doubt her if her knees were in a normal condition even after this. At present, Cassian says to Aaron, "May I ask you a question?" Aaron replies, "Yes. He told you punishment like this, you could refuse it and return to the mansion. Why did you just accept the punishment?" Aaron says she thought you would be in trouble if I refused the punishment, so I agreed to it. Cassian was very happy after listening to this. He said that starting tomorrow onwards, I'll make sure that the imperial family cannot treat you carelessly. In this scene, we see a person wearing a robe telling a newspaper author to publish dangerous news. But the author refuses to publish the news. The person offers a very good amount of money to the author, and after looking at this, the author decides to publish the news. Now, the person wearing the robe takes off his robe, and we get to know that it is Cassian's assistant. Cassian ordered him to do this. He was excited for tomorrow morning. The empire was in chaos. Everyone was reading the newspaper. The whole empire was astonished after reading the news. The news was about how the empress used the Renistic discipline method. Even though the Grand Duchess came from the Western Empire, Her Majesty is too much. In the next scene, we see the Emperor reading the newspaper. After reading the newspaper, he is very angry. His assistant tries to calm him down, but he is too angry and he orders to stop the spread of this newspaper now. The headline of the newspaper was, "Her Majesty the Empress has punished the Grand Duchess of Terneuzen severely, ignoring the Western Empire. Due to the excessive discipline, the Grand Duchess's knees are full of bruises and cuts." The Emperor's assistant said I would contact the officer related to the newspaper and stop this. But the Emperor of the Western Empire sent an official letter through the Wizard Tower. The Emperor asked what the content was. He replied His Majesty expressed a strong sense of regret over the treatment that the Grand Duchess suffered, and His Majesty won't stay quiet if a similar problem occurs again. The Emperor knows that this is the act of Cassian, and he decides he will not stay quiet about that. Baruta and his mom are talking about the article in the newspaper, and her mom tells her that Aaron's father was running around and crying and everything. She tells her he is too furious, and he also sends a reminder letter through the Wizard Tower. Aaron was astonished after listening to this. She realized this was really a big problem. After this, her mom asks about her son-in-law. She also realizes that the publication of that newspaper is the work of her son-in-law. Aaron was not expecting him to do this for her. Aaron's mom was so happy because of what Cassian did. Aaron told her this is not a matter that should be praised. Her mother asked why. She told her, "I don't know why, but the Empress had ordered me to meet her. I thought that the Empress wanted to find out Erica's fault, who had come with me. But then if I didn't act like that, that child wouldn't get away from the death penalty." After listening to this, Aaron's mother told her, "You should do what you have to do as long as you are not exposing yourself as a swordmaster." Now Aaron's mom asks her, where is her son-in-law? Aaron tells her he is going to the Imperial Palace. Cassian arrived at Imperial Castle. The Emperor's assistant told him on behalf of the Emperor, His Majesty the Emperor is furious this time. It is Her Majesty the Empress's fault, so I will ignore it, but it might be difficult next time. Don't cross the line, Your Grace, the Grand Duke. Cassian laughs and says in a sarcastic manner, "You failed again today." The assistant asks, "Do you have anything to say to His Majesty?" Cassian replied, "I don't know, I have to use all the ways that are possible." The assistant said the matter that I should pass to Your Grace is only that. Cassian praises his hard work, and he walks away. The assistant asks, "Where are you going, Grace?" Cassian replied, "I don't know, but I still have some business inside the castle." The Empress is reading the newspaper. She is very scared after reading the news article. While she is reading the news article, her assistant tells her that the Grand Duke of Terneuzen has come to visit. She is astonished after listening to this and tells her to let him come. The Empress told him it's been a while, Grand Duke. Cassian also said it's been a long time since we met Your Majesty the Empress. She thanked him for his hard work and told him to have a seat comfortably. Cassian sits and picks up Cynthia's photo. She was very scared. Cassian told Cynthia, who just started reading, that it would be too bad if she found out about this matter, right? The Empress was so scared, she started shivering. He said, "I'm just telling you that, I will get in trouble if I am on the other side. Isn't there only one remainder? Don't touch my people." Western Imperial Palace, His Majesty was laughing, and his brother asked, "What happened? Why are you laughing?" He said, "The world is helping me. I can't believe that the Northern Empire kicked my nationality. I have never been worried about losing Arne like this. His brother said, didn't he let Arne know earlier that this marriage wouldn't last long? His Majesty told him he was driven by Rosalia's power, and how she insisted Arne get married. She tried every way possible to give her the feeling of love in her life. He thanks Arne's sacrifices. The empire has gained its current status because of Arne's loyalty. She will return to our empire anyway. She can't stay calm. 3 months is impossible. And she will return immediately. Now in the Northern Empire, Arne is learning how to dance. She is not interested at all. She just wants to run away, but she can't. Now we see Cassian come at Arne. He expects Arne to send him off, but Arne tells him she always hoped for his safe journey. After listening to this, Cassian kisses her forehead and says, hope you will be able to do it next time. Aruna flabbergasted after this. Arne looked at the sky and thought, this is the first time that Cassian has gone out for a long time. This is bothering me. But she somehow managed to calm her down. Then she suddenly heard a voice. Some suspicious people have shown up, and one guard told them to increase security. Out of nowhere, a person with a sword appears from behind Arne. She was not fazed at all. The person asked him, are you the princess from the Western Empire? At the Silicon Club, where Cassian went, Cassian welcomed Alan into the capital. Alan says, Your Grace, Night Guard Rashalis has returned too, and he might return to the mansion. Cassian asks him about the report. Alan replies, Your Grace has asked me to investigate the attack case of the Grand Duchess. At that time, the person who attacked and witnessed the attack on her Grand Duchess carriage was found dead. Alan asks Cassian, can we continue our investigation? Cassian refused and told him to halt it first. Then he said, we are doing this investigation because we want to know what happened that night. Is this really Craven? Who did that? Or I'm being too sensitive. Now Alan says, Your Grace, there is the latest news.